Hi, welcome back to Community Hotline. And now to end our show, we're going to have a fun segment because we're going to be talking with the Gresham Sister City Association, particularly Abetsu, Japan. Did I say that right? Right. Okay, good, thanks. And with us to talk about the Sister City Association and the great things that are going to be going on this summer are Tomiko Takeuchi. You are the co-chair of Skosh, which is an event we have coming up, and Jim Card, you are the co-chair. Nice to have you both here.
Thank you.
You were both on quite some time ago. And when
3 years.
Has it been 3 years? Oh my gosh. Talking about Sulu Island, and then you had the Skosh event coming up. Is this the third year for Skosh?
It is the third year.
It is. Okay.
And the third year in the garden working.
Wow, amazing. So before we talk about the garden and the event, can you tell me a little bit about the Sister City Association, what the point is of a Sister City Association and what you do?
I think years ago the Sister City started because before internet, to across the ocean they had to do many more things, and so economically and culturally we set up many sister cities, and like to Japan there were like 25, 30 in Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah. Now many are inactive because the focus has changed. We're very fortunate in Gresham because we have two schools that teach Japanese language, Reynolds High School and Gresham High School. So our exchange works through the language programs and we continue.
So it's a student exchange.
It's a student exchange.
They come over here, we send kids over there.
And we have been delegates of adults in the past and hasn't happened as much. We have two other sister cities in the Gresham Sister City program. We have one in Korea and one in Nigeria. And our focus is Ebutsu, Japan, which is up by Sapporo.
Okay.
And we've taken it a lot further because we got excited about Tsudu Island 3 years ago. And that's about the time we started with Gresham Sister City. And they adopted the island first as the Japanese garden, and then we got involved with Skosh, and then with the exchange eventually.
You're just steamrolling here, aren't you?
Huge snowball.
Yeah. Well, I think, first of all, I have to say that I think kids going, overseas and getting that kind of education, even if it's for a couple weeks, is a huge thing. I think it's a wonderful experience for kids to do that. I think it's,
Yes, ours is fabulous because it's a month.
Oh, it's a month.
So
That's
the
great.
kids from Ebutsu come here in January, which is their break, and spend a month with a family, and then our kids are going in a couple of weeks, and they go and shadow a student for a month.
So they'll still be in school over there.
And
Yeah.
yes, and they're still in school.
Okay,
And it's been an amazing thing when you hear the kids talk. There will be kids at Skosh sharing their photos and their experiences because we host, of course, an exchange too. So yeah, it's amazing.
So which came first, Skosh or Sulu Island?
Actually, it's Tsudu Island.
It was,
It
wasn't
did by a few months.
So Jim, tell me about your involvement with this, because I know you've been involved in that from the beginning.
He is it. He is
is
the
it.
garden.
Tomiko invited me to the garden to look at as a place and something that had been there for 35 years and in terrible need of repair.
And am I right in remembering that it was created by war veterans? Or
It was the
something like-
Japanese farmers for Gresham Sisters, JECL they call it, and then the Gresham Troutdale group, yes. Kaz Tomaro was really the head of it, and we only have one person left who actually worked on that main core group that's left now.
So what did you find when you went there?
Well, we found a terrible case of overgrowth, neglect, abuse, conditions that were created by erosion, people using the island as access to Johnson Creek, since that's what creates the island. And we formed the partnership at that time to refurbish it.
Was anybody maintaining it before then? So it wasn't being maintained by the city or any other groups?
They didn't have the resources,
I
people
believe
or
that.
finances, and that was very unfortunate. And it was out of the way. Nobody paid much of attention to it.
Because it's at the back of Main City Park.
Just before Springwater Trail.
Right.
So during this particular time, let's say the first 30 days when we started thinking more seriously about how we approach this, Tomiko asked, how long will this take? And my estimate was 5 years. Now, although we're opening the garden on June 28th. Doesn't mean it's done,
Okay.
because a garden is never really done.
Right, it's a work in progress,
But
isn't
at
it?
the same time, for some reasonable completion, to be able to open it to the public for safety and lack of construction now taking place and so on. We're in the process of fine tuning, so to speak, and our efforts will expand beyond the island to the area, the slough area, the overflow area, and so on.
And I think you
And-
brought some pictures, and maybe we can be showing those while you're telling us about this, about, you know, what you've done so far.
Certainly, and with the redesign of the garden, we had to present that to the city, and it has been approved several months ago, if not more than a year ago, and we use that as the foundation for what we were trying to accomplish. The picture you see there is of the slough area, and this is prior to the Springwater Trail spur being installed.
Oh, okay.
And the bridge has been in existence 40 years now, is in need of repair. We have had it inspected by an engineering company, and it's been rated, so we understood what kind of equipment and how large the equipment could be that we took over to the island to do the excavation and work.
So that's the way over to the island itself.
Correct.
And this is still a usable bridge at this point?
It is, and it will also be replaced this next year. We are working with Reynolds High School to the wood shop department to provide the machining for the bridge components, and then our volunteers will go ahead and assemble it, probably a year from now.
Okay, it takes a while, doesn't it? What are we looking at here? What is this?
This is a portion of the island. This is actually the south side of the island. This is one of our volunteers that is in the early stages of the garden cleanup, as you might
I
imagine.
was gonna say, I bet that was the whole first part, was just cleaning up and getting rid of all the
Probably for the
overgrowth.
first 2 years.
Wow.
Was mostly cleanup. This is on the north side. There were 16-foot trees that we did not know were there until we cleared out the berry
my
vines
gosh.
and the overgrowth and the brush and so on.
And berry vines are tough to get out too.
This is a portion of the island that was about a year ago. In the center of the picture, you see a green box with a couple white pipes. We had just finished putting in the irrigation mainline system.
Was there no irrigation there
There
before?
was no irrigation, usable irrigation. At one time it had it, but it had froze underneath the bridge.
Oh, great.
So we partnered with the City Parks and Recreation and were able to repair that main line. So we have a state-of-the-art drip irrigation system for the garden at this time. And you see a trench there. This is Campbell Crane. In the winter, came out to park adjacent in the parking lot to the island, and was actually going to hoist about 25 boulders that were given to us by the city and came from other areas around the city. And you can see one there on the crane, and they're being hoisted over to the island and set into place. And then once they were there, they probably sat there for several months before we actually moved them into the place that we wanted to put them. The urgency of doing the boulder setting at this particular time was because of the starting of the Springwater Trail spur.
Okay.
And that was going to eliminate the access to the island with that construction going on.
Oh, okay.
So we needed to get things onto the island that we wanted to use while the spur construction was going on.
Right. Yeah, I went out there to the island shortly after you first came on the show and talked about it, but I haven't been out there since, so I'll be anxious to see all the
You'll be
differences.
shocked.
I bet I'll be amazed. So how does all this fit into Skosh then? Because Skosh is an event you have that's going to be at Main City Park, correct?
I think part of as I thought about it into the future, when we first started Skosh, we started way out at the Greater Gresham Baptist Church. And then we went out to Mount Hood Community College. But The city park is the perfect location because I love the idea of it being in near historic downtown Gresham and for us to all work together.
Very central location.
Very central location. And then, of course, the garden's there.
Right.
So we wanted to add the cultural part. And so Skosh, and that's exactly what it is. Skosh, a little Japanese cultural festival. So you'll have a chance to be able to enjoy a tea ceremony, or you'll be able to dance, a little folk dancing. There's like 5 steps, and they just keep repeating it. And we have a group that will come and teach you how to do calligraphy. We have a young teenager who does manga, that art with the faces with the great big,
yes, I know.
you know, I'm a little out of that, but yeah. And she's going to be teaching that. And we have a lady who'll demonstrate ikebana, the flower arranging, bonsai, all of that. And this year we have a few extra things. We will have a cooking demonstration by Sushi, of course, you know. But we have a lady who's going to do okonomiyaki, which is Japanese pizza.
No, really?
It's nothing like pizza, but that's what they call it in Japan. It's actually like a crepe or a pancake, and they put many things. And so she's going to teach that. It's very famous in Japan, and people seem to go and have. Plus, we have a vegan lady who's going to bring and change a Japanese or an Asian kind of a salad dish and make it healthier.
Okay.
And show us how to do it. So we have a few extra things that way. We also wanted to bring in some social community events, and Birch Community will be there this year.
Oh, good. They're
I am
great
so
organization.
Yes, and I've done a lot of, you know, how everyone donates, but these people not only give a hand out, but it's a hand up. So once the person accepts food or clothing, they have responsibilities that come in return, and it goes along with being able to sit down and figuring out budget and things like that. I'm very excited about that.
They have teaching. They teach cooking classes
Yes,
there.
yes.
And
I wanted them to have an opportunity to come because they're just on 177th and Raphael, and so it's right close to us.
Good, perfect.
Another one we're having is Damsels in Danger.
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh, this is amazing. They have mace and stuff, and they're all pink. It's so cute.
Or is it like self-protection
Yes,
kind of thing?
and they do a lot with self-protection things that you can carry. So like the mace bottle or whatever it is, it's pink and things, and
For women, focus
for
on
women,
I
yeah.
assume. Okay, now this is from the Skosh event, I assume,
yes,
right?
and we're not going to have as many displays. Before we were inside, and so we could have these kokeshi dolls, which they're, you know, real treasures. So we're not doing as much of that this time. We'll have more activities. We're very multi-ethnic because our koto, or the 13-string instrument that we have, is going to be instructed by Jose.
That's great. That's great.
You know, but most of these, yes, and this is Grace with the tea ceremony. Nice. And that is something that, you know, everyone's heard about, and something you need to try. We're going to have to kind of monitor because she gets slammed, and the one time you get to have the tea and then a little Japanese goodie she brings. Well, the numbers are so big, she kept cutting them in half until the size of your candy was like the size of a pea.
Oh my gosh.
You know, so we're kind of on it. And then here's Marion, she's doing her ikebana display, and there's a very specific way things are put in.
Right.
You know, so all of these different items you'll have a chance to visit, to see. Food will be provided by Kavika with Bamboo Hawaiian Grill, and he's going to do yakisoba, and I'm not sure what other things, you know, that he might be able to do. We haven't lined up. We have some Taiko people interested, but performance is difficult for us our first year at Main City Park because
It's going to be a little different.
there's no electricity
Oh.
and no stage,
That would
you
make
know.
it
So
tough.
we're
But
not
there's
sure.
going to be a lot of things going on, so it'll be fun. And this is a free event.
Of course.
Of course.
And everything is free other than food. And there'll be samples where the demonstrations are. And part of it is we really want to share the culture and give people a chance to come and visit the island and see the Japanese garden.
Well, it's going to be it'll be a fun event, and that is taking place on June 28th.
From 10 to 4 at Gresham Main City Park. And then the Gresham Farmer Market will be going on in downtown Gresham. And all of the shops are open, so we do invite you to come spend a lot of time with us, of course. But then to go across the street, the people in Gresham, the businesses have been so supportive of us. They've fed our volunteers, and when the exchange kids come, they feed the exchange kids, and yeah.
Well, you're doing something to make the community a better place, and to make it
I think so.
Main City Park is a great park in the first place, but you've really added to it. It's a really big, wonderful asset to have that. Plus, it has that cultural side to it, so that's
That's
really
right.
great.
And we're hoping to be able to do a lot more classrooms because we have a building now, a double wide, and then we actually got the coho shelter to
Okay,
be able to
good.
do some
yeah,
lunch
so you
stuff.
can be
So
underneath
yes,
just in case. But
eventually.
Hopefully the weather will be great. So
Yes.
Well, we're out of time, and I appreciate you telling us all about it. I know it goes fast, doesn't it? But it's going to be a fabulous event, I'm sure. You've grown immensely every year. I was amazed when you went from the first to the second year.
Yes, yes.
Blew up. So I hope it grows very well. So
Great.
thanks for being here tonight, and thanks for watching Community Hotline. I hope this has given you some ideas of things that you can do this summer. We'll have more next week, so just stick around. I'm Monica Weitzel. This has been Community Hotline.
Local community media is to us is literally our lifeline to what's going on in the lives around us.
The absolute most important thing that happens in your neighborhood.
People's local communities are usually what's most important to them.
Because we're the faces, the smiles, the peoples, and the personalities of the community.
To not only give people a voice, but to have their voice heard.